Today is Tuesday, and you guys know that at least once a week, I like to get on here and just talk to you guys and have a conversation about some things that are important to me about life. Sometimes it's credit, right? Sometimes it's about life in general. Well, today we're going to talk about leadership, and I wanted to actually talk to this young man because he's going to bring it to you from a different perspective. Now, I've known him for about a year and a half now, maybe 2 years. Um, and when I tell you about servant leadership and actually being there, leading from the front, right? This is one of those guys I talk about. Now, I've never worked with him in the Navy because our paths have never crossed, but I can speak to some of the experiences that he's had. Now, the reason I wanted to talk to him specifically is because he's been both a leader and right now he is he's a RDC, which basically means for most of you people that means that he's at boot camp, right? He's the one that a lot of people are afraid of, like when you send your kids and stuff, people doing that's yelling at them and things like that. And trust me, it's all a process, right? Just like anything, is a process. Um, so we're going to talk about leadership, but not just from the Navy perspective, but we're going to talk about it from the life perspective as well, because Julian Miles brings a lot of different but he's going to share this based on our experiences, more specifically his experiences and thoughts on leadership. So Julian, go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about you.
Okay, okay. Hey, Rashad, I just want to appreciate you inviting me to this, I guess, interview or discussion. When you contacted me, and I was actually like, I'm excited about that because I think it's a great topic, right? Great discussion for people to hear and know about, especially from our point of view, right? It's a lot of people that both follow both of us and not military, but also is military. So I think it's great for both ends. A little bit about myself. Again, like you said, my name is Julian Miles. I'm originally from Inglewood, California, in Los Angeles. If you guys don't know where that is, currently married, newlywed. Matter of fact, got married in June. Um, and I've been in the Navy now for 18 years. I hit 18 years on October 7th. I actually joined right out of high school. So I had one job prior to that, which was 31 Flavors, Baskin Robbins. I love ice cream. So I was the type to, go in there and get me some samples every once in a while. And then I joined that next what was it, October. So been in ever since. I've been on five different ships, two carriers, a destroyer, minesweep, uh, um, uh, one destroyer, two carriers, amphibious, a minesweep. I'm going to a cruiser next, and I'm just just living the dream. I made chief, 13 years in, um, and I've just been doing my best to lead from the front and be a great leader since then. So that's a little bit about myself.
Okay, so I'm not going to just let you just rush past the I made chief at 13 years, right? First, quite an I want everybody to understand that only the top 10% of the Navy makes chief petty officer, right? Top 10%, right? So for you to do that at such an early point in your career, um, that's quite a feat, right? So I want to congratulate you on that. Even though it's been 5 years now, it still deserves recognition. Okay, now
Appreciate that.
absolutely, absolutely, especially since we're in chief season right now, right?
Yes,
We're actually, when I say we, you guys are actually um, training chiefs right now because I'm recently retired, so I don't get to play much this year as far as training chiefs. But I do get to watch from afar and and get to see it on the back end when my wife celebrates her new chiefs at her khaki ball
hmm
this year, so I get to enjoy that.
definitely, definitely.
But so you were a Navy recruiter, right? So when we talk about leadership, tell me what it means, how you relate leadership to being a Navy recruiter. We're gonna start there, and then we're gonna talk about leadership.
Well, being a Navy recruiter is very unique. So me personally, I was a recruiter as a second class E5 in the Navy, um, and my career is different than a lot of other people too. But like being an E5 in the Navy wasn't really my first time. Well, at that point in my life, wasn't really the time where I was able to be a true leader. I wasn't able to be a true leader in the Navy, for me at least, until after recruiting. When I went to my, you know what? I'm a lie. I'm lying. I'm lying. When I went to my second ship, the USS Fitzgerald, I was actually my first point of being a leader in the Navy as a D5. But then when I went recruiting, um, it got even more unique, right? Because as a recruiter, even though you're taught how to be a recruiter, you're leading. You have to lead yourself, which is key, right? Because you have to be responsible for your everyday activities, your everyday duties, going out, being really, responsible with doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because I could have easily went out in town and just kind of just messed around and just went home, slept, did what I wanted to do. But I first had to lead myself and write down my schedule, write down my task, and then really commit and stay to it. So I had to first learn how to lead myself, and then as I'm bringing civilians into the military, I then had to learn to lead them now. But it's a different type of leadership, leading sailors that's already in the military to civilians that don't know anything about the military, and then trying to teach them about the military, because I am their first sight, right? I'm the first thing they see when it comes to military, other than the commercials and stuff. When they see me and check in with me on a weekly basis, what I do is what's going to represent them from that point on. If I wasn't a good leader or a good sailor or whatever, then they're going to take that, and they're going to see everything going forward as that. So I had to really make sure I was dressed to impress. I was squared away. I led them the right way. I stood by the honor, courage, commitment, right? Our, Navy core values, and embedded in them, so they can go forward in the right direction. So it definitely was a unique billet to be in, and I loved it. I'm glad to be able to start people's careers like that, because some people don't qualify for being a recruiter, right? So I just had the honor of being that and enjoyed it.
Okay. Hey, so we do have some people viewing us right now. My queen Erica says hello. Same thing with our business partner Alvita Lynch. And then one of my old XOs. He says, "Hey, that's great news," and he loves Chief season. Thank you. He's thanking you for your service. Me and
Definitely, definitely.
ADs, we go way back. He's one of the best XOs that I've served with. Um, so, and I don't say that to everybody. So, because I don't like everybody, you know that, right? But the fact that he could see us right now, that tells you about him. So one of the things that you said was, to be so junior. I want everybody to understand that leadership doesn't come with an age, right? It doesn't come with an age because, we start developing habits, or we should start developing leadership habits, um, probably in elementary, right? When
Yeah.
we put our kids in youth sports, or doing class leader, like the hall monitor at the school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are all tools to help people become leaders later, right? And then as children start to grow with AAU sports and high school sports, and cheerleading, and running different committees, like whatever kind of associations they have, right? Those are all tools to help people become better leaders. Then we do a phenomenal job in the ROTC programs, right? And
Mm-hmm.
don't forget the band. I got to shout out the band, um, right? There's,
The band.
right? There's leaders everywhere, and a lot of times people get leadership confused with age, sometimes position or rank, right? And sometimes a title. People get people get
Mm-hmm.
leadership confused with a title, um, like a manager, right? Because you're a manager does not make you a leader. I want you to understand. Okay,
Not at all.
right. right? Because leaderships, they come with some of those qualities. So when you think about leadership qualities, right, what are some of the qualities that you relate to leadership?
Well, it's funny you say that because, again, like I said, my first experience of being a leader was my second command, which is the USS Fitzgerald DDG 62. And what was funny is I cross rated into EN later. I was an airman when I first came in, and I cross rated into being an EN. But up to from EN3 all the way to EN2 or E4 to E5, I didn't know anything about being an EN. I had no engineering experience whatsoever. So when I got to my second command, they seen that kind of what you said. They seen me as a E5 in the Navy. I had dual pins. You know, they automatically assumed, hey, he'll come in, he'll take the work center supervisor and start running with it and being a leader. And I'm like, whoa, like I had to tell my supervisor on the phone, like, hey, I just let you know, I don't have too much experience in this. So, he was like, you'll be all right. So when I got there, and kind of going into your question, one of the qualities I had to really learn is I had to be humble. I had to humble myself as a second class in the Navy because I understood that I was the smartest person here. I was the most experienced person here. And that goes in any field, right? Just like you said before, just because you have a title or position don't make you the best person for the job or don't make you the smartest person or the most experienced. So when I got to when I got to that command, I had to really humble myself and understand that, hey, I have to go to these junior guys and really learn my position as a leader. So I was actually developed as a leader from my junior guys that was more experienced with the technical part, right? So I learned that part from them, but then I learned from my higher leaders, my chief at the time, my first class, on how to lead from that area. So I had to take both of those two and figure out how to be the best leader I could be in this position and then going forward. But yeah, you definitely have to be humble because just because you're a leader don't mean you know everything. You have to understand it. You have to listen just as well. You have to give orders. You have to take orders just as well. Have to give orders. If you can't take orders or take instruction, right, or be coachable, then you can't be a good leader. Because there's always ways to learn. There's always growth and room for improvement. And you have to be humble enough to know that you don't know everything. You're not the best thing since sliced bread. You're a human being, and you have to always be ready to uh, to get better. Is what I should say.
Okay. Hey, so I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you nailed said humility first, right?
Yeah,
You, from my perspective, right, to be an effective leader, to be an outstanding leader, you first have to be humble, right? You have to know that number one, it ain't all about you. Okay, it's not,
yeah, that's big too. Yeah,
right? Corey Stokes is chiming in, always evolving, right? Because and Corey Stokes is a retired senior chief of the Navy as well. So one of the things that I learned early on was that you don't know everything, right? And there are people that are junior to you that are going to have ideas that can make your life so much easier, right?
mm-hmm.
You got to be the
Exactly,
person that's in charge to say, you know what? Hey, I know my way works, but what do you got, right? Let's see
exactly.
what you got, right? Because if you don't, you are going to limit your growth and you're going to stagnate their growth, right?
What, well, including that, I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but even that, like, nobody wants to work with somebody that like that, right? Like, if I mean, we've all been in a position where we had a leader above us that probably didn't want to listen too well, or just thought they knew it all, or didn't want to take your advice. And just because, like I said, you're a chief or you're a leader, you supervise your manager, don't mean that you have the best idea. Like, hey, what about this? So, but if I see that you're going to shut down my thoughts or my ideas right away, then okay, cool, got it. You the person. You got it. Don't worry about what I got. I'll do what you say, and I'm gonna let you fall on your face, and I'm gonna create that. I'm gonna make you humble, kind of like Rafiki and Lion King hit him upside the head. It was a lesson, right? But I'm gonna let you fall on your face until you really see that you really have to listen to me now because I got a better way. You know what I mean? So that's not. It's all about too getting that reciprocation, that feedback, and getting that trust. Because another thing about leadership, kind of go back to your other question, you have to kind of trust your junior guys. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard to do that, but you have to find a way to really gain some type of trust in them because they'll see that. And when you task them, you put them out there, you say, "Hey, go do this. I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna see how it goes." That's how you building leadership as well. Same as a recruiter, I made somebody in charge of the depth pool. I made somebody take roll. I made somebody go and make sure they salute in properly. Hey, go fix the salute. That's me trusting that person to do that. So now they're like, oh man, he trusts me. So now they don't want to let you down.
Right. So there's a few comments that I want to spend a little time on. So Felicia Davis, she's a pastor in Petersburg, Virginia. She says that's why it's good to sit at a table with people that have more knowledge than you, right? Like that. That's just common sense. If you're the smartest person
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the circle, then you need to do circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You won't grow if you're the most successful or the smartest person. Um, Erica says that some sailors have creative ideas, and that's so true. Very true. Now, Corey Stokes has one that says we often evolve as society. I got a story with that, right? So, um, my oldest daughter, when she was in high school, she was taking statistics, okay? And I'm helping her with her math, okay? And I'm like, okay, Aisha, what's this, and that, right? She picks up the calculator. I'm like, what are you doing? She says, I'm using a calculator, right? Well, if you got to use the calculator, then you don't understand it. And I make her put the calculator down,
Mm.
right? And then I'd ask her something else or whatever, and she would grab the calculator, right? And I'm like, and I was really getting frustrated, okay? But then one day I'm on my way to work. So I live about an hour from work. One day I'm on my way to work, and it dawned on me, when is she not going to have a calculator available, right? It's on her phone. It's on her tablet, it's on her computer. It's like she's always gonna have access to a calculator. So if I'm not, and the reason that this came up is because I had an epiphany that when I took statistics, I was in college, right? She was in high
Mm-hmm.
school taking that course. So students are learning faster, right? They're learning faster, so you
They
know,
are.
to limit her growth, right? If her teacher is telling them to use the calculator, and I'm making her not, I'm not allowing her to use the calculator, I'm slowing her down, right?
Mm.
Because I have the problem, right? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that's the way that I was taught, right? Well, we got to remember that kids today are smarter than we were when we were young. They have more access to more information. Like they walk around with computers in their hand, right? I'm gonna date myself. When I was in sixth
Facts,
grade, we had
facts.
one computer in the class, right? We had one computer in the class. I was in sixth grade, right? If you
Dang.
and nobody knew how to use that, okay, right? Now we
Yeah, it's different. It's changed.
yeah we walk around with computers on our wrists, right?
Pretty
So
much. Pretty
leadership
much.
definitely a requirement. Jason Stevenson, also retired chief, says that I'm famous. Hey, so let's fast forward a little bit because we've been on here for about 18 minutes already. So now, as with you being a RDC, um, how how does that play into leadership? Like now, they definitely recognize you as a leader as soon as they get off that bus, right? So how do you?
Yes.
What are some of the challenges, and what are some of like when you think about leadership from that perspective?
Well, it's funny because right now I'm an RDC, but right now they got me to where I get them from the plane, put them on the bus to boot camp. So I've seen the whole. I'm looking at the whole process, man, from getting them from home to putting them on the bus to getting them off the bus to bring them to boot camp to then picking them up day one to training them. Um, and it's different. It's definitely a lot more. It's a lot faster pace because we're like on a time we're on a schedule now. So you really have to put a lot more pressure on these people when they're in boot camp. Um, they are scared. I mean, most of them are terrified. They don't know what to expect. They don't know anything, and especially nowadays, like when I came in, you had a good 6 to 8 months, sometime a year, to wait to even go to boot camp. Now they're getting them. You know, you sign up today, you leave in a week or two. So it's a lot difficult now because a lot of them don't know a lot of things that they normally would know coming into, or you think they should know. Um, so again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. You have to understand that you have to humble yourself first, but you have to understand where they come from, and then as a leader here, you have to understand that you have to understand your people, right? So as a leader, you have to understand your people, and when you meet them for the first time, you have to get to know them. Right. We have a hard card where we read their information, but you have to really get to know them, talk to them each, learn how to say their name. These people come from different countries, different cultures, different environments. They ate different food. Everything is different. So you have to really get to know your people as a leader to learn to know how to lead them. You have to know what makes them tick. You have to know what motivates this person, because what motivates this person might not motivate this person. I might be able to just throw the card at you and beat you a little bit. You know what I mean? Give you some exercise to do, and you motivated after that. But this person, it doesn't work. I might have to make you do an essay. I might have to make you do, a write up or some extra activity or something to get you motivated. So it's different now because I mean it's still the same, but you quickly have to learn your people. And we got a lot more. Right? I got like 88 plus people that you have to lead, and just imagine you have to get to know them all very quickly and know how they tick. So I guess the biggest thing out of that was you have to know your people in order to keep them driven and help them move forward with any task, any process that you're with, and that relates also to the outside. You have to know your people.
Okay, so you said leaders must be motivational and inspirational, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, in today's society, right, there's a lot of people that come from single parent homes, right? There's
Yes.
a lot of people who are raised by their grandparents. There's a lot of people who I found now that are joining the military that come from all different types of demographics, and you are like their first introduction to leader. So, what are some of the roles that you would compare yourself to um, as as a leader in that person's life?
Man, some some people, they see me as the first like male figure in their family. I mean, like you said, I was raised by my mom. I mean, my dad was here and there, but he wasn't really there. And I had a father figure a short period of that time, but for the most part, my mother raised me, right? And it's the same. Some people's mother raised them, or their father raised them, or their aunties, their grandparents raised them. So a lot of times we're looked at as their first role model. We're looked at as their first guardian, their first, another parent to them, because we're teaching a lot of these kids stuff from brand new. Like a lot of men coming to the military and don't know how to shave. Um, Same as women. A lot of women come in here and don't know how to do certain things that women are required to do. So they're learning for the first time by one of our female RDCs, right? So you're taking on like the father figure, the mentor, the role model, the educator, the disciplinarian, um, the physical coach, life coach. I mean, you're pretty much taking on every type of role you could think of as an RDC, but everybody requires something different. Some people might need all 10 of those. Some might just need one or looking for one, or you might have to, act like that for them to help them understand where you come from. Because at the end of the day, we want to protect them. And initially, they might not see that because we seem scary, but as time go on, they see that, oh, we got to love them and protect them, but in this certain type of way because it's a training environment. But at the end of boot camp, man, they always come back crying and saying, "I thank you, I appreciate you, you did this." I mean, I still got people hitting me up on social media saying, "I just appreciate you, what you did, you changed my life, you helped me this, this, and that." And now being in the financial world too, I'm helping a lot of people in that way too, right? Because now they're getting advice how to invest, how to what not to do, so they can invest and save money down the line. I mean it, it goes everywhere.
Right. So one of the most important things or impressive things that you said, and I thought that I might have to like pull it out of you because I know it's in you, right? But I thought I might have to pull it out of you, but you 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 made me you didn't make me have to do that, right? And what I'm saying is you gotta love people, man, right?
Yeah,
You got you have to you've got to physically or seriously care about people
care.
in order
You have
to
to.
lead them, right? You cannot lead somebody that you don't care about. And you can
Yeah,
manage
it's
them,
tough.
right? You can manage them,
Yeah,
but you can't lead somebody that you don't care about. And if that person that you're trying to lead, doesn't believe that you care about them, right? They are not going to follow. They are going to do
they're not going to open up to you either.
right, right. They're going to do exactly what you tell them to, especially in the Navy because they don't have a choice, right? But they're not going to do any more. They're not going to do any more until they understand that you care about them as right. And I'm gonna share a short story with you. Then we're gonna wrap this up. I learned this when I learned this when I was a chief. I want to say I might have actually even been a senior chief when this happened. But I had this sailor who had come to me like when I reported to the ship, he was already there, right? And I'm talking to
Mm.
him about career intentions and what he wanted, from the Navy. Okay, and this sailor, he wanted to get out, right? Not that he
Mm.
didn't like the Navy, but when he came in, he had specific goals, right? He wanted to
Mm-hmm.
meet those goals, and if he met those goals, he was going to get out, right? Not a big deal. In fact, that was very admirable because he did everything that I told him to do all the time, right? He was the model sailor. He came to work on time or early every day, never caused any trouble, did what he wanted, did what I needed him to do. Well, we got to a point where we were about to go on deployment, and within 10 days of returning from deployment, he was supposed to be out of the Navy, right?
Mm.
So, so I went to my chain of command and said, "Hey, I don't want to take this guy with us because what if we get extended, right? If we get extended, now we're chopping into his time, right? Now, my division at the time had no idea that I was doing this, right? Because they don't need to, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I lost that guy, okay? And now, as time goes on, the whole division thinks that I'm screwing this, right?
Mm.
Care about him, like I'm screwing this guy, and we ended up actually the deployment actually ended up getting extended, and when we got extended, we actually had an opportunity to get him off the ship, right? So I saw the opportunity coming, and I went back to my chain of command, like, listen, right? Hey, this guy's done everything for me that I needed him to do, right? Let's take care of him and let's get him off the ship so he can get out of the Navy like we planned on doing, right? I lost again, okay? But
Mm.
this time, um, I am basically arguing, like a very loud argument going on right now, okay? And me not paying attention to my surroundings did not realize that my division was sleeping on the other side of that wall.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm yelling back and forth, right, trying to get my point across, and I lost that battle too. But what happened is I won my division because they heard the whole thing.
Mm.
They heard the whole thing, and even though I lost, the fact that I was willing to fight for them is what made me win them over, and my job is so easy after that because now they understand that I don't just care about them as sailors; I care about them as people, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you are humility and you look at the person that's in the uniform, or you look at the person that's in the wheelchair, or you look at the person that just joined you in business, instead of looking at, oh, that's a handicapped person, or that's a sailor, or that's a brand new agent. No, that's a person, right?
Mhm.
And you treat them like people and you care for them like people, like they actually matter because they do, right? Then your job as a leader is going to be so much easier. Hey Jay, it was great talking to you, man. I'm glad that you were fortunate enough when you were that you blessed us with your opportunity, man. Because I don't get to do this very often, especially with active duty sailors, because you guys are very busy. Hey, so do you have any parting words or any piece of advice for some of our listeners that are out
Um,
here?
I mean, if you're in a leadership position, I just hope you learn something from this. I hope that it helped you. You kind of added some things in your tool bag. You kind of it put things in more of a perspective for you. Because like I said at the beginning, is always as a leader, you can always learn more, right? And I just hope that something in my story, even your story, was able to kind of trigger maybe something or really just put things in better perspective for people so they can become a better leader. Because it's not easy. Leadership is not easy, and it really don't supposed to be. I don't think, but when you care about your people and you help them understand that you care about them and as a person, then things become easier. You guys start understanding each other, and it's easy for you to lead, easier for them to follow, easy for you guys both to really exist in one place at a time. So that's all I have.
Hey, thank you so much. Hey, thanks for everybody. Thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. I'm going to leave you with this. Leadership is a relationship, right? A lot of people they focus on the lead part, but they leave the ship part out. And the ship is part. The ship part is short for relationship, right? That's what it is. It's a relationship, and that's why I said if you don't care about people, you'll never get people, right? You'll be able to get them to do what you want them to do, but trust me, that's not leadership. That's management, right?
Hmm.
Management is all about tasks. And leadership is all about leadership. So, if you guys have any questions or whatever, feel free to drop those questions in the chat. Either Julian or myself, and maybe both of us, will chime in and get those questions answered. But thanks to everybody for listening. I hope you guys had a great experience. Have a great day.